Thank you. Before I just nod my head to every scope increase that's being part of that task force.
Just keep nodding. Spoken like a true businessman.
Slow down just a moment. So it's preliminary.
I think you need to give your name and address for the record.
Sorry, Brian Griffith. I'm 792 Honolulu Circle, Diamond Head, Mississippi. I'm representative of Dewberry, the regional representation for the firm. My experience goes back a long way to days of being the executive director with EPA through the Gulf States region. So I'm very sensitive to your water quality and/or flow issues, especially associated with fisheries and the like. And yes, that would be a part of the preliminary assessment. I'd say it's from a business engineering perspective because you have these canals. They obviously support both a recreational boating and a non-recreational, basically commercial fishing industry as well. But they are your tributary and distributaries in the coastal segment of the county. And as a consequence, they are a system of systems themselves. And consequent to that, because of the restrictions that Commissioner Wells mentioned, you have strong occasions in all these activities where either you are starving tidal flow, you have an over-receipt of storm water that can't get the proper exchange, et cetera. You have a lot of water quality and or water flow issues that need to be, that if addressed properly, obviously have a positive impact on the county. The reason I bring that up on the leveraging side is a lot of this is almost exclusively focused these days in these commission settings on the Restore Act monies just themselves. The reality is the backdrop of agencies that care about those fisheries and care about those flow regimes have the standing appropriations each year ready to be partners in basically improving your situation as financing partners to get to an outcome that obviously is a performance outcome thereafter as well. That's part of the leveraging side. Having said that, the assessment scope that we put together is to get in quickly and learn more about the gentleman that walked up here and said you need a 100-foot basically a channel between buoys X and Y. Well, it's easy to just say those kinds of things or say these increases or decreases, not decreases, the increases in depth and regime in some of these canals are easy. They are not easy. They're regulatory,
right.
They're flow-based, and those will be quickly identified and we'll be coming back to you obviously where they require more in-depth engineering and or assessment decisions to be carried forward before they go forward. The other part of the engineering analysis here, probably the preliminary reason that we got involved in this when we were doing basically 10-issue surveys with many of your community leaders in the county, is that it costs a lot. It's going to cost. It's always going to cost. But every time a company mobilizes and demobilizes its equipment, that mobilization and demobilization cost is a lot of the action of the dredge activity itself. If we can minimize that, and we can, then you're not going to waste all that overhead in the projects when they're actually performed. That's what you care about. You actually perform the projects. So that's a key part of the dredge management plan, is to reduce the cost, the overall cost of scope, increase the number of leverage capacity that you have to help you get it done. And as was mentioned earlier by Ms. Maker and Mr. Franklin, the idea here is this is not one and done. You're going to have a lifetime of maintenance dredge activity here that you really need to get on top of, rather than just come into it one time and then be out of it. So that's where we would look at the alternative cost strategies and support strategies for you owning your own equipment. Now, the other thing about a potential regional capacity in that regard is every one of your sister counties is facing this exact same thing. So canal-based systems, canal-based communities, and as a consequence are receiving the same kind of over-sedimentation problem that you are, and ultimately these independent dredge management problems. If there's a way in shared assets and capacities that you can get on top of that, then again you can reduce your costs, you can increase your efficiency, and you're not going to be held hostage to the market.
Great, and I think it's so timely when we have talked about hiring a lobbying firm in Washington to help us with some of these asks that I think we'll need to look for up there. So, Commissioner Wells and Commissioner Moore.
And to follow up too, and you said it, and I was getting ready to bring it up, but it really comes down to the stormwater end. It comes down to capacity, all these little fingers that go out to the canals or the river, that takes forever to get there. Their bottleneck, which is backing up and flooding certain areas like in District 5 that we've seen where it can't get out there. So that's really the key here, and
Exactly.
we've discussed it. That's the key. If we can open those up to where the water can get out, then it's going to help, relieve
Clean
some
the
of the
vicinity
flooding.
area.
Absolutely, yes.
And reduce your cost.
Commissioner Moore.
No, you know what, Nat, I really don't. Commissioner Wells basically just said what I was going to say. Like you said, the bottlenecks in the canals, like you said, the fishing boats, the shrimpers trying to get out of, was it Hudson Channel?
Yeah.
I mean, they're all piling out all at once.
I've seen them
I mean,
lining up.
I mean, they're ready. Water's high enough, they're getting out. They're getting out, so he's
Good thing.
correct.
I'm glad we're doing this. It's overdue. Do you want to make the motion?
Let me just a little more comments there,
Okay.
too. And Brian, appreciate your company. They've helped companies up and all around Florida, I think over 90 counties, where they've helped them actually design projects and get them funded as well. I met Brian the first time when I was at Dewberry Regional Planning Council, put a presentation on what they were doing all in the day. So for the Gulf of Mexico. So what you've done has been great. So have you here with part of an existing contract, bringing something forward is great. Just to touch on a couple of things as far as that water quality as well. The other day I'm driving up and down, and I see a guy mowing a lawn on one of the channels, and the grass just flows right into that channel. Looking at the rainwater up and down, where it just can go right in there too. So that type of thing to look at, if that can be incorporated,
Yeah.
great. And I think now that we've joined the Florida Alliance for Estuaries, that may be another opportunity to work with Holly Greening to try to
Right.
find out how we can actually
Exactly.
get that funded too. Maybe with Pot 2. I don't know what you think about Pot 3 as well with this project for down the road.
Absolutely. So when you dissect the water quality problems, whether it's an overload of organics, such would be the case with your grass clippings or other things, in this arena, there are very few new discoveries to be made. And so you're going to be really looking at the opportunity to quickly put in best management practices that you're
Right.
possibly not instituting today as at least a preliminary round of some of the mitigation factors. Pretty non-threatening, frankly, many of them, and highly effective. So, yeah.
When I attended the Springs meeting in your place, Commissioner Moore, there was quite a discussion about best management practices, and I learned some of the things the surrounding counties are doing that we're really not doing. So I think there's some low-hanging fruit there.
Yeah, it's a very non-threatening,
Yeah, next time.
highly effective
Thank you.
activities.
Move approval.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
We look very forward to going to work with
Great.
you.
How long till we hear back from you?
Well, on the project, we plan to report to you routinely throughout the course of the task, which 90 working days is the scope.
Okay, wonderful.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you.